was the toe. Well, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am feeding and checking on some of my African night crawlers, which I am morphing back into the wall. And they are doing well. Look at them. So I fed this one already. Let me check the next one. This one I fed yesterday. You know, some bins, they eat it faster than other bins. I don't know why. Everything is set up exactly the same. But when I see a clump like this, I just break it up. So how are you all doing? Oh, that's a nice worm. See that purple luminescence right there? That's classic African nightcrawler. You will see like a little purple hue in a certain light. They are so pretty, aren't they? I gave them paper yesterday. There they are. African nightcrawlers love cardboard and paper. That is like their number one thing. Besides leaf litter, but you know, they just love it. Okay, look at them here. I gave them this apple. They're taking forever to eat it. This is why, you know, sometimes I question the food in our supermarkets, I swear. They'll eat this chow before they eat that apple. But I'm going to leave it in there. Let's go to the next one. Okay. There's a lot of young ones in here. They're doing good, though. Let's check on the red wigglers. So for my red wigglers, for these tubs, I only have 2. And I will expand. But, you know, in the winter, it just takes them longer. Oh, my gosh. Look at the amount of springtails. See those little white things? See? Those are little springtails. They are an incredible thing to find in your worm bins. Now, they can get an excessive, but if you want to get rid of them, easiest thing to do is just dry out your bin. But I don't. I just leave them be. But look at them. They're everywhere. And the worms, you know, they don't seem bothered by them. Those are red wigglers. They're so cute. So in my wormery here, I don't have any blue worms. It just took me a bit to get rid of them because they're just a pain to me. See those little balls? Those are cocoons. Now, blue worms are a great composting worm. They really are. And if you don't mind them, like, escaping your bin when they hear rain or sense water and just do all kinds of crazy things, then by all means, go for it. I just didn't like them. They were just a pain to me. But I know people that love them, and that's perfectly okay. You just do what you like. So this is my Louisiana swampworm giant tub here. These worms are just so... I love these worms so much. I know these are probably my favorite. Between these and the red wigglers, I just love them. They're just so well behaved. And they eat so well. I gave them chow yesterday and something sprouted in here. When these things sprout, I just break them up and go like that. But this bin it needs to be harvested. Look at all those castings. Oof. So when I'm ready to harvest this, I'm going to pull it out onto a table and start drying out the castings. But, you know, drying out the castings, you have to be careful because if you dry it too much, then they can die. But if you dry too little, then you won't be able to put it through your sifter. So it's like a, you know, it's like something you just learn. So I forgot about the chicken foot. I didn't throw it out, and I think it's in here somewhere. So I'm going to dig for it. Okay, that's a potato that's kind of mush. And I'm not sure where the chicken foot is. Oh, I think I feel it. Oh, it's so gross. Oh no, that's a potato. Gosh, where the heck is the chicken foot? Did they eat it? Let me bury that up because potatoes, when they start to break down, they can get a little stinky. So I just bury them deep so I don't notice it. Sheesh. Where be all the chicken foot? Well, guys, the chicken foot's missing. All right, maybe they ate it. I don't know. I guess when I harvest, if it's in here, I'll find it. I swear, the stuff that happens to me. So I've been cleaning up this room, just reorganizing it. I finally got my machine here charged, and I'm going to show you how I use it. So Joe put it on this thing for me, so it's easier for me to take around, but I have to put a weight on here because if not, the whole thing just topples over. So let's water a little bit of this bin so I can just show you like what it does. So I turn it on, and then this nozzle came with a lot of extra like parts, extensions, and stuff, but you know, it just works better for me to just have it like this. So basically that's it. And I go bin by bin and I feed them chow, which I keep in this old cheese bottle. And that's it. And I cover it up again. But I like this machine. So here it is. It holds about 4 gallons. And what I do is in the net up here, it has a little basket. I put a piece of mosquito dunk in there and I fill it up, and then I leave it a few days so the mosquito dunk gets in that water. And then I use that to wet all my bins down. All right, guys. So here I have a small tub. I got these online in bulk. Honestly, I don't remember what it measures. Let me go get a measuring thing. So I would say this measures about 18 long, about almost 14 wide, and depth is about 5 inches. So I am gonna set up some red wigglers in here, and I thought I'd bring you with me. I didn't do a video last week because I took some time off to spend time with my family. But anyway, I'd want to do this with you. So I have a lot of leaf litter, guys. And, you know, worms love leaf litter. So I've been putting leaf litter in here that I prepare. And the worms they just love it. So when you're breeding worms, you only need about 2 to 3 inches of bedding. But sometimes I give them a little more. I'm also going to add some peat moss. Worms love peat moss. I can add shredded paper at this point, but I have so much of this stuff that I'm going to use a lot of leaf litter. And I'm going to add some dolomite lime, which helps cut down the acidity of the peat moss, because we all know peat moss is very acidic. I'm definitely going to need more leaf litter. And this is the way I divide my bins to go on the wall. If I overcrowd this bin, they're going to self-regulate. They're going to peter out, which means they're going to get to a certain amount and then they're just going to stop. And that's not the point of breeding. I want them to keep multiplying. So I give them a lot of leaf litter. So there's also a little bit of paper in there. So peat moss, you know, is challenging to wet. It's not going to soak up the water. You kind of have to help it. So I use mosquito dunk water. And this is what I'm doing. If I could turn on my machine. You kind of have to massage it in, you know. Peat moss is also very dusty. So at first I go slow. I don't want this stuff spraying in my face, you know. So mosquito dunk water is basically when I take my machine, fill it up with water, and I take a quarter of one of the mosquito dunk circles that you could get on Amazon or Home Depot or anywhere. And I let that water sit for 2 or 3 days. Let that mosquito dunk stuff. So mosquito dunk won't kill the already flying insects around your room, but it kills the eggs and the larvae, and then the flying insects will eventually die out, and then the, you know, little larvae won't be living. So eventually you'll notice a difference. But you know, mosquito dunks, this is not like a chemical, it's biological, so it's not going to work immediately. You have to be patient. Let's wet this down. African night crawlers are also a big lover of leaves and this mixture. I've also used strong but since I have so much leaf litter, I mean, why not, right? So if you all haven't pressed that subscribe button, do so. I really appreciate that. I've been on YouTube many years. All right, so let me go get the little guys and I'll bring you back. So there are red wigglers in here. As you can see, they're little. They're just really cute. So I kind of mix them. They've had a lot of babies in here. And this is like a nice amount of castings. So I'm gonna divide this. You see this tub, the one that I'm doing, I can do, if I really want, I could do 4 out of this. So what I do is I just go like this and then go like that. And take one bunch and put it in there. I used to, years ago, I used to count the worms out, and no, I don't do that anymore. That's very time consuming and I just don't have the patience. So I'm gonna move them over. I'm just gonna take a quarter of this and I'm gonna sprinkle it in there. Even though this has the castings, it's still introducing all the microbes and everything in here that the bin would need to get going. It's not a sterile environment. So let's just sprinkle them. And then I have enough to do 3 more. I wanted to walk you through one of them. I do it a lot faster when I'm not filming because I'm not having to move the camera around. There you go. So anytime you wet one of these bins to get them going, never use hot water. And if you do, for whatever reason, because honestly, peat moss breaks up easier with hot water, wait till it cools off before you put your worms in, or they are gonna run for the hills. They really are. And look how beautiful those castings are. It's like, wow. It's really dark. So I leave the light on a few minutes. I know they're gonna go down. And then I surface feed with some worm chow to get them going. And then I cover it and date it. Now I do feed my worms kitchen scraps, but the first day or 2, I just give them worm chow just to get them used to it. And you don't want to know what's strange, guys? I have these bananas hanging in my kitchen I bought them when they were solid green. So I thought, well, they're gonna take a little bit of time to ripen up. It's been more than a week and they're still solid green. What is up with our bananas? Like, that's not normal. So there we go. So if I want to add, let's say, oh, I don't think that's enough bedding. You can always take dry leaves, like obviously a bunch more, and you can crumble them and add it to the surface. If you want to add manure to this, you can, but I would use rabbit manure. Rabbit manure is a cold compost. You don't have to pre-compost it to put it in here. But what I do when I've added rabbit manure is I rinse it first from the urine, and then I add it to the worm bins, and they love it. The thing about adding manure is that you're going to notice an increase in pot worms, which doesn't harm the worms. People think they're baby worms, but they're not. A baby worm will always have a little hue of color, and a pot worm is bone white. So I'm going to give them a chance to go down, and which I think they're already disappearing. And then let me get the worm trap. All right. So I reuse these bottles from cheese grater cheese, like powdered cheese, and they get a little sprinkle of worm chow. Now I don't want this anymore. I kind of just go like this and I leave them alone. I cover them in plastic, only on the surface though. If you overlap the plastic like that, they're not going to have any air and you're going to have a problem. The bin's going to go anaerobic, worms could die. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Don't overthink setting up bins. I mean, if you're very scientific, you can, if that's what you love. But overthinking something like this will just stress you out. And then when you have 20 of them to do, yeah, you're going to be stressed. So it just goes back on my wall up there. And that's it. And that's an old label. I'll remove that label. And then that's it. Then I'll do the others. So that's how basically how I start lately a worm bin. You know, sometimes I use straw. I've used so many things, guys, and everything works. But there are some species that work different with other materials, and I'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, I just wanted to show you what I'm up to, and I'm taking care of the worms, and this is what we're doing today.